What is up? Welcome to another edition of SacTown MovieBuffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are back, continue on with our top 10 films of each year series. So if you've been following or you've been paying attention or you care, we've been doing basically a top 10 list starting all the way back from when the two of us first met back in 1995. And we've been progressing our way forward. And now we are on lucky number 2014. So we're finally coming to somewhat of a close on this series of top 10 films of each year. So we've only got a few years left because we already did 2020 and we already did 2019. So really we only have 2015, 16, 17, and 18 left. So yeah, so we're moving right along, man. We're making a lot of headway.
We're getting there.
It's only taken us over about a year to get through all this, but we're doing it, man. We're making things happen.
Yeah, I was just
making dreams come true.
I was just gonna say, like, we should go back and look at when we did the 1995 one, just to see how long it's taken us. I mean, we've taken long breaks.
We started this podcast, movie review channel, a little bit over a year ago, but I felt like we started doing like the top 10s of each year relatively soon. I would say at least in a month or two after we started doing the recordings, I would think, anyway. So I could be.
Yeah.
I feel like anyway. So
it certainly feels like it's been a year since we've done it.
Yeah.
So
at the very least, it feels like it's been some time. So
yeah.
Well, cool. Well, so this will be our 2014. So, and then obviously we break these up into two parts. So this will be part one, which will be our number 10 through number 6, and then we'll come back and we'll do another show where we'll do our number 5 through number 1 and have some honorable mentions potentially as well. So I don't know when that show will get done, but it won't be probably the next show after this one, because usually we do other movie reviews in between. So so be looking out for that one as well. So if you don't see something that makes your list on this show, bear with us. We have another show. Maybe it's in there. Maybe it's in our honorable mentions. Maybe we didn't like your film. I don't know. But we'll find out together. So, well, before we get into the actual movie reviews or actual top 10 list, I'm sorry. Each year we also do challenge films for each other from that year. So in our last show, 2013, the end of that one, we did a challenge film for 2014. And so we'll each pick a film that either I've seen and he hasn't, or he's seen that I haven't, and we'll sign it to each other. So I'll go ahead and start off with my film. So you chose a film for me that I hadn't seen from 2014 that you had. And that film is going to be Life After Beth. So Life After Beth stars Aubrey Plaza, who actually plays someone that is bitten by a snake and dies. And that's pretty much the end of the movie.
Yeah. It's a feel good classic.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, so she dies, but her boyfriend, who is played by, and I can't think of the actor's name.
Dane DeHaan, I think.
Yeah, Dane DeHaan.
Yeah.
I've seen him in a few things, but I've never known him by name or anything like that specifically. Mm-hmm. He's technically kind of the star of the film as well. But her boyfriend, who is a little whiny in my opinion, is really distraught over, his girlfriend's death, which that part's understandable, but he's like overly, like almost annoyingly whiny. He's always like kind of like visiting like the family and like playing chess with them, and he's very distraught about her death, and then he's also his family's kind of crazy and wacky as well. They seem like they're kind of over it, and they kind of want him to be over it as well. But he's like walking around wearing like her scarf or something like that, so he's just very distraught about it. Long story short, Beth, who's Aubrey Plaza in this film, her family, like, they basically just kind of shut out the boyfriend at some point, and they won't let him come in the house. They won't let him like interact anymore, and he can't figure out what's going on or why that is. And he eventually finds out that Beth is basically alive again. So she's basically back to life, essentially a talking, moving zombie, if you will. But she's, almost seems normal at first, but obviously as the film progresses, you start noticing various details about her that makes her not normal. She's got like kind of like an obsessive compulsive behavior or something of that nature that she didn't really have before. And as the film goes on, she gets worse and worse as the film goes on. And I'll just kind of leave it at that without going into too much spoilers or anything of that nature. So basically, it's kind of like a commie zombie film, basically, in a nutshell. It's pretty much the best way to describe it. Overall, I thought it was decent. I liked it overall. I didn't love it, but I did like it overall. It was decent. It reminded me of like a more like comedy version of like Maggie or something like that, where someone's been like bitten and slowly turning into a zombie kind of thing, and that's almost kind of like what she does in this film. Because she's kind of more normal in the beginning, but by the end, she's almost like full on zombie, basically. So, but I liked it. It had some funny parts. I definitely chuckled in certain parts. I felt it went on maybe just a little bit longer than needed to be, and it does get like really, really crazy and over the top towards the end. So they kind of lose me a little bit towards the end because it just gets way too wacky towards the end for my taste, anyways. But overall, wasn't a bad film. If I had to give it a grade, I'd probably give this film probably 2.5 out of 5 on this one. So liked it, just didn't love it. So just a slight smile. But yeah, so that was my synopsis of Life After Beth.
Yeah. I mean, I remember really liking it, but I haven't seen it since it was a fairly new release. So I saw it in 2014 or 2015. So my memory of it isn't that strong, but I do remember thinking it was a lot better than I thought it would be. Not that I thought it was going to be bad, but I kind of thought I had an idea in my head of what it would be like just from the premise, and it did manage to take me by surprise a little bit. So it is one I want to revisit at some point. So I can't really argue, I guess, but I do remember liking it a lot. That's all I can say.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, and then you had a homework assignment, which I assigned to you, and 2014 was a tough year for me, so there wasn't really a whole lot that you hadn't seen that I had seen, so I had to go with something by default. And that film was Let's Be Cops.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a homework assignment, that's for sure. Yeah, I wasn't too wild about this one, man. I mean, I kind of, I wasn't going in with a bad attitude. I mean, it has a funny premise. I'll give it that. It does have a funny premise. That these two guys, played by Jake Johnson and Damon Wayans Jr., who are both funny. I like them both. They decide to, once they find out, kind of by accident, that cops get treated differently. They can pretty much get in anywhere and tell anybody to do anything, and they'll do it. They decide to basically start impersonating cops on a regular basis, and obviously they get into trouble. So it's a funny premise. It's got some funny actors in it. It's also got Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele. I can't remember who else is in there, but it's got a qualified cast, a funny premise, but it just didn't do anything for me. It just didn't make me laugh. And I know comedy is subjective, but it just didn't do it for me. It seemed like one of those movies where they had a premise and they had like some funny actors, and then they pretty much just let them go. It seemed like most of the scenes were just like improv, which improv, by nature is hit or miss. And it didn't seem like they made enough of an effort to make the improv work, or the editing is off or something. I don't know. It just wasn't a very good movie. So I didn't like it. And it's been like a month ago since I watched it, so I don't remember too much about it except that I didn't enjoy it. So sorry, man. I know it wasn't like like anything you're passionate about, because you had to just kind of like settle for a choice.
It wasn't one that wasn't one that I'm gonna fight you over or stand behind or anything. I don't own it or anything like that. It was just it kind of was like by default. There was only like 3 movies that I had seen that you hadn't seen or something. So, and all the other ones were probably going to be just as bad. So, you know what I mean? So, so it's, it is what it is. So, like I said, I don't exactly, I told you going into it, it's not one that I'm like, oh my God, you have to see this one. You know what I mean? So, But it is what it is. So
cool. Yeah.
Well, sorry, you didn't like that one. Maybe we'll have better luck with our 2015 choices. So
hopefully. Yeah, I gave this one. I gave it a 1 out of 5 because it was it was long. It felt long. It's like an hour and 46 minutes or something like that. And this movie with the amount of I bet the screenplay was about 30 pages. You know what I mean? It's that kind of, because it was mostly improv, I think, and it really shouldn't have been more than 80 minutes, honestly. So an hour and 45 minutes, it just felt like forever, and I only laughed maybe 2 or 3 times, so that's a pretty bad average. So I had to give it 1 out of 5. So, which I don't know what kind of face that is, but it's not a good one.
It's not one that warrants.
It's this kind of face. It's no face at all. Yeah,
just out of here. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, fair enough.
Sorry, man.
Hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I say without further ado, we get right into it. We get into the real reviews. So I'll go ahead and kick this one off since I started with the challenge film. So I'll go ahead and start this one off. So this will be my number 10 film of 2014. And that film is going to be John Wick. So yeah, just a film. I love this series. It's just great. Coincidentally enough, this one's number 10, but I actually might like the second one a little bit better than this one, but I really do like this one quite a bit. And I know you weren't huge on the third one, but or you liked it, but I don't know, you had some issues. But I also may even like the third one a little bit better than this one as well, personally. So the action, especially the ending of the third one, is just awesome. So, but this one's cool. Obviously, most people probably know the story of John Wick at this point. He basically, is a man with a that basically retired hitman, kind of living his life. His wife dies, and then part of her gift to him, I guess, if you will, is his dog. Is this dog that she gifts him before he dies, just to have a companion so he could grieve. And then also he has a really sweet car as well. So for whatever reason, these Russian mobsters see his car and they like it and decide to offer to buy it, and he basically says it's not for sale, kind of thing. They end up, I guess, basically tracking him down and following him home. Long story short, they basically break into his house, beat him up, kill his dog, which everybody is really sad about, and then steal his car, which sets along a series of events that basically, I guess, activates the old John Wick, and he basically goes after him. And that's pretty much all you really need to know. I mean, if you're not sold on that, I don't know what else is going to sell you on the film. It's an action film. I really love the seedy underworld of hitmen and stuff like that, because they have these specialty hotels that they stay in with rules and things of this nature, where if you're in the hotel, you can't kill anybody on hotel grounds, and it's all these assassins and hitmen all check in. They have their own money and currency and things of that nature. They have their own cleanup men that come and clean up the job for them. And so it's just a really, really fun action film. And like I said, there's obviously been 2 sequels so far, and there'll be another sequel coming up as well. I don't know if the next one's going to be the last one or not, but I do know that there is another John Wick film coming as well. But like I said, I love it. It's a great movie. It's a movie that I can watch pretty much any time. I can watch any 3 of them really any time. So if you're an action junkie like myself, one that I highly recommend, John Wick.
Yeah, I love John Wick. It didn't make the top 10 for me, but I really like it a lot. And looking back at the first one now, it almost seems kind of modest, almost compared to the second and the third ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some action and things of that nature, but he was more human, if you will, in this one.
Yeah.
Whereas now he's pretty much a superhero. You know what I mean? So because this one. Like I said, there's a group of bad guys. I mean, there is that scene in that nightclub where he basically just runs through everybody, but he still gets injured and things of that nature. And he does get injured in the other ones as well. I mean, that is one thing I do like about the John Wick films is even though he's pretty much unkillable, he can't get hurt, he can't get injured. Versus a lot of these action films, the good guys seem like they never get hurt or never get injured. You know what I mean? They just keep rolling right along. You never really see them get beat up or anything like that. And he gets beat up quite a bit, in pretty much all the films he gets beat up. You know what I mean? So I'll at least give him that. You know what I mean? They at least try to, he doesn't die, of course, but he at least can get beat up and get hurt. So so there's something to be said about that. So
yeah, and it's it's they didn't know at the time that it was going to be such a sensation. I'm sure. So
no, definitely not. So.
Right. Yeah, and the second one I think is my favorite, and the third one, yeah, I was a little bit mixed on it the first time, but then I watched it again at home and I loved it. So basically, I love the whole series. The first one, I think the second one's my favorite, but the first and the third one, I'm not sure how I'd rank those, but
yeah,
I do like it a lot, and I agree with you that my favorite thing about it, or one of my favorite things about it, is that kind of like hitman subculture kind of thing that it almost makes it feel that's what makes it special. You know what I mean? Like it could just be like an ordinary hitman revenge movie, but that whole kind of like world building, it kind of makes it almost like fantasy, almost in a way, like almost kind of graphic novel feeling. You know what I mean? Like something like heightened reality, not like just your typical revenge movie. So and they really expand on that.
Yeah, there's like this whole world of like these like hitmen and things of this nature, and like it's like their own little like world that they all live in that like is foreign to anybody that's not involved in that world. You know what I mean? So, but I do like that, and like I said, with their own currency and they have like little and what we find out in the later films, they have like these specialty hotels pretty much all over the world, you know what I mean, where they could go to pretty much any city and stay in those cities and not have to like worry about like, being attacked or being unsafe. Well, theoretically, not having to be attacked or being on safe ground and that kind of stuff. So, but no, just a really, really fun action film. Like I said, one that I can just watch anytime. Definitely been one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite like series, of like the late 2000s basically, or the 2010s, you know what I mean? Like probably one of my favorite of, like continuous series that keeps going on. So
yep.
There's obviously ones older like, Mission Impossible, but those have been going on since the earlier 2000s, obviously. So yeah.
But I really like the way they expand on that kind of aspect of it in the second one. The second one, they really go all in on like the alternate reality kind of stuff almost,
Yeah, because that's the one where you find out there's other concierge type places like in Italy and other, cities and things of that nature. So you really kind of expand and really get to see all the different factions of how the underworkings work. And and I'll get into that whenever we get into that year where the second one comes out. I don't know if it was the next year or 2016. I don't remember, but we'll talk more about that one for sure. So, but cool.
I think it was 16, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Moving on to your number 10 film, which is going to be Edge of Tomorrow.
Yep. Edge of Tomorrow. I love this movie. This is one, like I was looking earlier today at my top 10 from that year that I made that year, and it's pretty solid. But I kept most of it in the top 10, but this is the one movie that wasn't in my top 10 when I originally made this list back in 2014 that I was like, this is good enough to slip in there. Because it's one that I like more every time I watch it, and it's one that's really fun. I can watch it anytime. And, it's really grown for me over the years. So, yeah, I'm a big fan. Anybody who's been watching the show, I'm a big fan of the Groundhog Day storyline. The idea of the day that keeps repeating. I love that kind of thing. Groundhog Day is one of my favorite movies. And then nobody else really ever made a movie like that. But recently, it's become like a kind of a like recurring theme again lately. Like there's been this one, there was Happy Death Day, which I also really liked. There was Palm Springs, which I really, really liked. So it's becoming a thing again, which I kind of like. You know what I mean? I like that theme, and I'm glad it's kind of coming back into style, so to speak. But
Didn't we just watch one just recently that's like that too? Oh, Gamer or what's that?
Oh, Boss Level. Boss Level.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Boss Level. Yeah.
Yeah. I like how you can kind of mold it. You can take that scenario and kind of work almost any genre around it. Like, Happy Death Day is a horror movie. Palm Springs is kind of like a romantic, it's kind of a love story. And then Edge of Tomorrow and Boss Level are action movies. You can really kind of use any genre with that story. Yeah. And of course, this is an action movie. It's set in the future. It's science fiction. and Tom Cruise is the main character. He's the one who's stuck in the loop where he keeps dying every day, and he has to kind of figure out a way to survive the day and beat the the robot. No, they're not robots; they're aliens.
Right.
But it's kind of beside the point. It's a cool action movie. It's got some really good humor in it. It's got really great action in it, and it's definitely one of the best action movies that has come out in the last few years, I think. And it's kind of a shame that it just kind of came and went when it was released in theaters, which is kind of a surprise because Tom Cruise can still pack them in. A lot of people don't like Tom Cruise, but he can still get a good showing in the theater. But for some reason, this movie just didn't catch on. But it's one that everyone I know who has seen it really likes it. So I think it will survive. You know what I mean? I think it will be remembered because everyone who does see it likes it, as far as I know. So, but yeah, I love that movie. Number 10 for me.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't quite make my top 10. I do like it. I don't love it quite as much as you, but I definitely do like it quite a bit. It is a really fun action film, if you will. But yeah, it is just a really good, time loop type film. You know what I mean? And I like most of them, just like you like most of them as well. The only one I didn't really care for was the Happy Death Day to You or Happy Death Day 2 or whatever.
Oh, the sequel. Yeah.
The sequel. I didn't care for that one really. But all the other ones I pretty much like, and I kind of have about the same general feeling about all of them. Outside of Groundhog's Day, I like them all, but I don't know. They all kind of, because they're so repetitive, you know what I mean? I always have a little bit of a knock with almost all of them based on that. So, but I do like that one quite a bit. So, okay. But I like it. I just don't love it quite as much as you. But it would probably make I think it's in my honorable mention somewhere. So,
cool.
I don't know.
Cool.
Probably like number 14 or something like that. So,
yeah.
Cool. All right, moving right along. Unless you're done talking about.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Didn't want to cut you off. All right. My number 9 is going to be Gone Girl. So another Ben Affleck directed film. It's one of those ones that's like set in what?
David Fincher. David Fincher directed that one.
Yeah. Ben Affleck stars in it. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah. So kind of a thriller. Ben Affleck stars in it. It's kind of a thriller, kind of a mystery, basically about a missing girl that basically the cops are looking for. And then they obviously also kind of Ben Affleck and like his crew, they also are kind of like looking for her and that kind of stuff. So it's got a lot of big name cast, a lot of big stars in it. But it's got a lot of little twists and turns and things of that nature, but very, very R-rated as well. It's got a lot of foul language in it. There's like an F-bomb drop probably like every 2 seconds in the film, but it's just a really, really good, gritty thriller. Hadn't seen it in many years, but definitely one that I really enjoy. So that's all. And landed up in my number 9 spot. Number 9 film is going to be Gone Girl.
Yeah, Gone Girl's great. Another one that's not in my top 10, but it would definitely be pretty far up in the honorable mentions. I'm a huge David Fincher fan. I've liked almost everything that he's made. And yeah, it's I didn't read the book. I remember the book was a big sensation when it came out. So I don't know how it stacks up to the book, but the movie is really entertaining. It's got lots of twists and turns. It's really entertaining. And Ben Affleck's great. Rosamund Pike is great. And actually, Tyler Perry is great. Like, I'm not a big fan of Tyler Perry's like comedy movies, like the Medea movies. I'm not into those at all. But I have seen enough to have an opinion on it. Unfortunately, my mom loves those movies. But he's actually in this movie in a dramatic role, which he's really good. He should do more dramatic roles. And I think there's another movie coming up. I can't remember what it is, but there's another movie coming up where it's a serious movie. So I'm guessing that it's a dramatic role.
But he plays like a detective or something like that. So I'm not for sure what, or something of that nature. I don't know. I know he's going to be serious in it though. So yeah. So I don't know. I didn't see Alex Cross. I didn't see that one, but I heard it wasn't very good. But he's just like a supporting dramatic role in this movie, and he's really good in it. So yeah, I love that movie. Not quite my top 10, but it's really, really good. And I just talking about it makes me want to watch it because it's been a long time. So yeah, good one. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along to your number 9, and I'll bring that in for you, and that is going to be Selma.
Selma. Yeah, Selma. Excellent movie, starring David Oyelowo. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not sure. As Martin Luther King. And what I really like about this movie, it's very well directed by Aya DuVernay. Yeah, Ava. I can't remember. Oh man, Ava DuVernay. I think. Sorry. I don't take down notes like you do, unfortunately, before I do these. Maybe I should. But what I really like about this movie, aside from the really quality writing, directing, and acting, is that it's not, you wouldn't know necessarily by, looking at the poster or anything like that, but it's not your standard biopic at all. It's not, it's not like, he was born on this day and this is what happened after that and this is what happened after that. What I really like about this movie is that it condenses itself to like a short period of time, like a 3-month period of time, culminating in the march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama.
Montgomery, Alabama, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I really like that it's not like a...
I couldn't remember if it was Montgomery or Birmingham, so I got confused for a second.
I think it's Montgomery,
okay.
But I could be wrong. I like that it condenses itself to a short period of time because it kind of avoids a lot of those like cliche pitfalls of like your standard biopics. And not that I don't like biopics, but they all are kind of the same usually. And this kind of avoids those pitfalls by just picking like one of many significant chapters in his life and kind of dissecting it from there. So, yeah, I really love that movie. It's a great movie. So yeah, that's my number 9 for 2014.
Cool. Yeah, I really like Selma a lot. It is a really good film. It's not one of those films where I respect him quite a bit, but it's not the kind of film I'm going to watch every day. So, I'm not going to put it in my top 10 just probably based on some of that maybe. But it is a powerful, very moving film. And like I said, I do like that they do take just a snapshot of kind of, but, obviously the march to, for voter rights and all that good stuff. That was always a very important and pivotal point of his life as well. So it was good that they focused on that and showed what, all happened during that particular period where, they were, attacked by cops and beaten and all that stuff. Because, a lot of that stuff, unless you grew up in that area, you might not have known all the things that have happened. So it is nice that they shined a light on that. So really, really good, powerful, moving film though, for sure. So
yeah.
Cool. Good choice. Moving right along to my number 8 film. I'm going to bring that in. That is going to be... I didn't get a very good image for that one. It's going to be The Guest. It came out small for some reason. So my number 8 film is The Guest, which is action horror, I guess, if you will. Something of that nature. Basically, Guest is kind of like it's kind of a mysterious film because basically it's about this family whose son basically dies in the war, and then this guy who shows up who basically says that he served with the son and he's got like some pictures of him with their son or whatever. Basically, just shows up to the house. And just like, hey, he told me that, if ever, to check up on his family, if anything ever happened to him or whatever case may be, and just kind of shows up and he's very mysterious, doesn't talk very much. And the more we learn about him, the more you learn that, there might be some more issues with him, if you will. He, definitely has a very high IQ for fighting and getting in trouble and that kind of stuff, but you learn a little bit more about him. So it kind of turns into like this mysterious film and then kind of an action film and then kind of a horror film and then back to kind of action film again towards the end. So it's a very layered film and, it's hard to go too much in depth and in detail without giving away spoilers to it. But just really, really good action thriller, if you will. So one that I definitely enjoy. And that is my number 8 film, The Guest.
Yeah, I love that movie. In fact, it's going to be appearing a little higher up in my top 10. I think, now because, being on Letterboxd, it allows you to track such things. But I think that's probably the movie I've logged more than any other movie. I think I've watched it 7 times
Wow.
since it came out. Yeah, it's just like, it's one of those movies that I can really, we always say like, oh, I could watch that anytime, but I really could just watch that anytime because it's so fun. It's one of those movies, when they come out with it, it's like, this, it feels like this movie was made for me. You know what I mean? Because I love the premise. It's got real, it straddles that line between action and horror so well. Dan Stevens is great. Dan Stevens is so good in that movie as kind of like the, kind of, it's I love the way that it doesn't spell out what is up with him. Without going into spoilers, it doesn't spell it out. Like, is this guy like a cyborg now, or is he what's going on? Because he almost plays it like the Terminator almost, but with like a sense of humor, Yeah,
absolutely. No, I agree. He definitely is and you still quite, you know what I mean? Even towards the end, you don't quite know the full gist of what he's all about. But you do know that he definitely isn't your regular military personnel coming back home from the war. Let's put it that way. So,
no, and he's pretty resilient too. I'll put it that way.
There's something really, really, really special about him. That's for sure. So at the very least.
Yeah. So. And it's kind of a home invasion movie too. And I like home invasion movies, and I like movies that really, because home invasion movies almost when they start like on good terms, I love those movies that like start like where somebody is like, opening their door to somebody and then like kind of navigating that fine line between when it becomes like unwelcome. You know what I mean? Like, I love movies that kind of explore that borderline between like, trust and then like the realization that like, something weird's going on here, and that kind of awkward period. And it does that really well. Plus it's just really fun. And another thing for me, it takes place at Halloween, so I'm a big Halloween junkie. And it's very much a Halloween movie. It's great to watch around Halloween. I mean, like the whole action climax is inside of this amazing haunted house that's constructed in a high school gym. And I wish I had gone to a high school with a haunted house that was that good. I don't think any high school haunted house is that good.
No, not that good for sure. Most of them are pretty
crappy. Yeah, no, I think but I don't care. By that point, I'm having so much fun that I'm not going to quibble. I think this haunted house should be less good. No, it's just awesome the way it is. So, I love that movie. And I'm sure my 8th viewing is, before too long. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I'm moving right along. Cool. And your number 8 film is going to be Love is Strange.
Yeah. Love is Strange. This is a very powerful, very good movie. It's about, it stars John Lithgow and Alfred Molina as a gay couple who have been together for like over 40 years, most of their lives. And they finally decide to tie the knot, get married after being together for 40 years. But this was, it's set during a time before, that was as widely accepted as it is now. So as a result, Alfred Molina's character, who's a teacher, loses his job. So that causes their lives to go into kind of a free fall because he was the one whose income they were dependent on. And of course, he's older, going to have a hard time finding a job. So it kind of disrupts their lives in a major way. And kind of how they deal with the fallout of that. So Alfred Molina and John Lithgow are both phenomenal in this movie. They've both one of the best performances either one of them has ever given. And it's just a really affecting movie in a lot because it's not only about their lives, but how they're kind of, the resulting turmoil, it affects all the people around them. You know what I mean? So it's just a really good movie, really well acted, really quality movie. So yeah, that's my number 8 for 2014.
Cool. Never seen it, so don't have an opinion on it one way or another. But cool. Sounds like an interesting film for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's all I can say. I haven't seen it, so
yeah.
Not really much I can add to that discussion. I haven't seen it. So, if you're done, we'll move right along to our number 7 films, and I'll bring mine in. And my number 7 film is going to be The One I Love, which stars Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss. It's a very interesting film with a twist, which I don't really want to go into, really, because you don't find out about it until it happens. Basically, they are a married couple that are having some marital issues, so they go see a marriage counselor who is played by Ted Danson, actually. Who basically offers them an opportunity to go stay at like this cabin that he has to kind of get away from everything, get away from electronics and all that kind of stuff, just so they can kind of recommit and focus on each other. However, when they get there, they do find out something is very strange about the place that they're staying at, and it's really hard to go into it without giving away spoilers. But let's just say that it's something that's potentially more supernatural, I guess, if you will, about that place. And it just makes for a really good, funny story. So it's a comedy. It's kind of a love story, but it's really just an interesting story. You're one, like I said, you just really have to see. It's very funny, and I've always been a big fan of Mark Duplass. He's always quirky and everything, but I like that about his style and Elizabeth Moss is really good in there as well. And their chemistry is really, really good. And like I said, I wish I could give you more about the story, but like I said, it's one that you just really have to see. You just have to trust me. It's funny in many parts, but it's got a lot of really, really good twists and turns to it as well. So definitely one, like I said, that I highly recommend. The One I Love. That's my number 7.
Yeah, I love that movie. I've only seen it the one time, and it was quite a while ago, but I remember liking it a lot. In fact, I remember I did something that I almost never do. I did a blind buy. I remember I was at Target and I was like, I can't believe they have this movie. I mean, it had just come out at that point, and it was kind of this, and it's kind of a, it's an indie. It's not really that widely known, I don't think.
Most of his movies I feel like are indies, though. I feel like most of the movies that he's in are kind of more indie. I mean, he doesn't star in big Hollywood films typically. They're typically more indie, quirky side of things. Him, Aubrey Plaza is kind of that way. Actually, they were in a movie together. They're both those kind of actors and actresses where they star in those kind of quirky films that are not usually the big Hollywood blockbusters, if you will. So
yeah. I just remember seeing it at Target for $10, and it had just come out. And I remember reading about it that it sounded really interesting. The kind of movie that you want to go into without knowing very much at all. And I was like, there's almost no way I'm not going to like this. Because like you, I really like Mark Duplass and, Elizabeth Moss. And it was in my hand at Target and it was $10. And I was like, I want to watch this right now. I'm just going to get it. I almost never do that. I never do blind buys almost. And I just did it and I didn't regret it. Took it home and watched it. And, I haven't watched it since, so I don't know if it was worth it ultimately, but I will watch it again. And, I can watch it whenever I want to right back there. So, yeah, I remember liking it a lot. I remember being really excited to watch it because I knew there was some kind of weird twist and you shouldn't investigate too much before going in, but just to put it in and watch it. And I'm really glad I did that. So anybody watching this hasn't seen it, do that. Don't research it. You could probably watch the trailer because I doubt they spoil anything in the trailer, but don't even watch the trailer. Just watch it.
Yeah, just trust my word. Just take our word for it. Just get it. Watch it,
Yeah, right now. That's finish the video first, but then
finish this, obviously.
Yeah,
but then watch it as soon as this is over. I just rewatched it. I don't know, maybe about a month or two ago. So, and it still really holds up. In fact, it might have been a little bit lower in my countdown, but after rewatching it, I bumped it up a little bit. So, but yeah, cool.
That's good. That's good to hear because sometimes those movies that have such a huge twist. Sometimes I'm almost hesitant to watch them again because I don't know if it'll be as entertaining, on rewatch. But it's good when it is. So
yeah. No, for me, it definitely held up very well, even with the twist. So, but I get what you're saying. I feel like with those movies, those are more about the twist isn't the payoff in this film, though. You know what I mean?
Right. That's
so I
true.
think that makes it a little bit of a different, feeling. It's not like
The Sixth Sense or something like that, or
where that's the payoff. Where now you might rewatch it one more time just to see how everything unfolds. But then after that, I really haven't watched Sixth Sense again since I've seen it twice. You know what I mean? Because I really love it. Don't get me wrong,
it is really good. It is really good.
Film, but it's like one of those films where like once I found out the payoff, I'm less inclined to just pick it up on a whim unless I'm going to show it to somebody probably. So, whereas this, the payoff comes off. The twist comes. Well, the initial twist, anyways, comes early in the film. There's other little twists and turns that happen throughout the film, but that's the initial twist. So,
yeah,
cool,
good one.
Well, thank you. Moving right along to your number 7, which is going to be Whiplash.
Yeah, this movie is I like to call it, and I'm sure the other people call it this too, but it's kind of like Full Metal Jacket for musicians.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because it is kind of like the F. Lee Ermey and R. Lee Ermey and Vincent D'Onofrio relationship from Full Metal Jacket, except it's for like a band teacher and a drummer, which sounds kind of weird. Like how could it be that intense if it's just about like drum lessons? But it is that intense. It really is. Yeah. And this is a movie like I've been wanting to watch it again forever, but it just I still haven't watched it since I saw it in the theater back in 2014 or maybe early 2015 or something. And that's not because I don't want to watch it. Like I'm often looking at my shelf and like I really need to watch that again, but I just haven't yet. But I know that when I do rewatch it, it's gonna blow me away again because I just remember being like knocked back by this movie big time. Like J.K. Simmons is amazing in it. He won the Oscar, I think, very deservingly. Oh yeah. Miles Teller as the kid, like also fantastic. Like he did this right after The Spectacular Now. So he was really, really hot there for a while. I can't remember what he's done since then, but like those were a couple of years that were really good for him. Yeah. But it's just a really, really hard-hitting drama. Really relatable. Just well acted, well directed. Damien Chazelle is the director who went on to do La La Land, which I really liked a lot. I know you were crazy about La La Land too, of course. Being a big musical fan, you were. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a really good movie, and even though I haven't seen it in 6 years, 6 or 7 years, it doesn't seem like that because there are definitely several scenes from that movie that are just stored right there after one viewing. So when I do get around to watching it again, I'm sure I will have it at this spot, if not higher. So yeah, Whiplash.
Cool. Yeah, I love Whiplash. It's definitely going to be in the second half of the show, so I got it much higher up my list. But yeah, I love it. It's just a phenomenal film, definitely. Like I said, the tension between those two is just like something that you just have to see to really get the full experience of it. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those it's almost brutal though, as well. You know what I mean? He's just so brutal in this film. Like he's just, I don't know. I mean, he's probably worse than his character in Oz. You know what I mean? He's just so like relentingly just brutal and brutally honest. You know what I mean? He's just like the worst guy. If you make a mistake in his band, he's gonna, let you know immediately. You know what I mean? He's gonna rip you a new one, and like he does it to everybody, but he really, really does it to this kid and just torments him basically. So, but yeah, phenomenal film. Like I said, just great. Like I said, it'll be on the second half of our show, but yeah, I absolutely love it, and definitely one that you should watch again for sure. So,
yeah, cool. It's up there when I get a chance.
I have to get around to it. I understand.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Cool. Well, moving on to my number 6, which actually I just saw like maybe 2 weeks ago. Again, I've seen it before. My number 6 film is going to be Nightcrawler. Which stars Jake Gyllenhaal. And I don't know if that's where they got the name from, but he reminds me of like almost the Night Stalker in this film. You know what I mean? He's not necessarily a serial killer, but he's got that same kind of personality, if you will. Basically, he stars as like this like kind of petty thief that on a whim basically sees like this like accident, like this really, really bad like accident, on the freeway down in Los Angeles, and he basically comes out and sees like this film crew come out, and the member of the film crew is played by Bill Paxton, who basically is like filming the accident, and he just kind of gets like interested in that. He was like, like, wow, that's really, really cool. And then basically like, ask, basically Bill Paxton's character if you're looking to hire somebody else, and he basically tells him no. So he basically takes it upon himself to like just go out and kind of like, find a way to buy his own camera, and basically gets like a radio scanner and just kind of like starts like, hires a driver, played by Riz Ahmed, hires a driver to basically drive him around while he basically goes and tries to like, get the scoop on whatever the big like, accident that happens, or the big like, murder or whatever case may be. But the difference between him and most other like professionals is that he's not professional and he's got no filter. So while they're all like kind of like backing away, like filming the accident, he's the kind of guy that's gonna bend the rules and basically walk right into the crime scene, and just like he'll put a camera like right in the face of someone like in a gurney, like right in their face, like filming them. Or he'll even like, if he's filming like, an accident that happened in someone's house, he'll like actually like take it upon himself to like kind of break into the house in order to like film evidence, and like sometimes even stage things if it needs to be. And that's kind of what he is. So he's basically just he's a psycho basically. But he's doing anything he can in order to, because he gets paid, basically how it works. And you learn a little bit about how that industry works, because he finds out you basically film stuff and you take it to a news station, and he kind of sort of befriends like this like she's like a director or producer or something like that for like this like failing kind of like news station or whatever, and hands her a tape, and basically he gets paid from her. They kind of form like a little bit of friendship, kind of like an understanding, where he basically is continuously like, getting like these crazy stories and like giving them to her that he's filming. And and then somewhere along the film you learn that he's really, really a bad guy, and he just does all kinds of just crazy stuff that is like would not only be illegal and ethical, but also just, but because he's very intelligent as well. He's weird and he's creepy, but he's also very intelligent, and he'll tell you that like, well, I'm a fast learner, and he is. He picks up things very quickly, and if he makes a mistake on something, he'll correct it and rectify it and that kind of stuff. But it's just like a really good character study, and like I said, he kind of reminds me of the Night Stalker, which I just saw that documentary a few months back on Netflix about him. I already kind of knew most of the story, but he reminds me of that kind of character. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like that too, that this person was kind of modeled after. Like if the Night Stalker got a job, like working like video cameras, I feel like that's kind of what he would be, like this creepy guy that lives alone in his apartment that goes out and films like all these like crazy like homicides and things of that nature. Without the pedophile and serial killer, I guess, if you will, an element to it, but he ain't too far off from that either. So he's a total creep though, but just a really, really good character study. And like I said, Jake Gyllenhaal is just phenomenal in that film for sure. So, and that is my number 6 film, Nightcrawler.
Yeah, Nightcrawler is awesome. It's another one that you pick that is like not in my top 10, but it's so close that maybe it should be. I don't know. But I think it's great. I saw it. It's another one that I haven't watched in a while. I saw it twice in the theater, I know, but I haven't seen it since, even though it's right over there. I have a lot of movies. What can I say? But he's like, Jake Gyllenhaal is amazing in that movie as just this kind of completely amoral creep. Like creep is the right word. I mean, like, and he's phenomenal in this movie. I mean, he's got these dark rings under his eyes. He just looks the part, and he's so good in this movie, and it's so creepy and disturbing, and just really good. And it was also really good to see, the lady who plays the producer of the news channel, Renee Russo. I hadn't seen Renee Russo in forever, and it just felt good to see Renee Russo again. She hadn't been in a movie, as far as I knew, in forever. So.
And then it wasn't anything after the theater.
So. Yeah, well, I mean, she's been in. She was in the director who made this movie, Dan Gilroy. She was in his next movie that's on Netflix called Velvet Buzzsaw, which is a really strange movie. It's nowhere near as good as Nightcrawler, but I enjoyed it. But yeah, I know. yeah, it's a really cool movie, really cool movie, really good movie. Maybe should be in my top 10, but it's just outside of it for sure. Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. All right, moving on to your number 6 film, and I'll bring that in. It's one we kind of discussed already, which is going to be The Guest.
Yep. I pretty much already said everything I wanted to say about that one, but yeah, I love The Guest. I think it's a total blast. Once again, like one of the easiest movies to rewatch for me ever. I mean, it's so much fun. I like so many things about it. I can put it on anytime. So great movie. Anybody who is a fan of action or a fan of horror or just a fan of fun movies, you owe it to yourself to watch that one for sure.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, The
Yes.
Guest is great. So I already covered it. So obviously don't have much more to say on that, but watch it. It's awesome. You're gonna love it. It's gonna change your life.
You're gonna watch it 7 times like me.
That's right. That's right. Well, that is going to conclude our top 10 films of 2014 part 1. So those, like I said, were number 10 through number 6. Definitely, if you didn't see a film that you felt should have been in the top 10, join us next time because we'll do a number 5 through number 1. We'll have some honorable mentions, and like I said, hopefully one of those films will show up in that. As always, if you like the channel, we ask that you like, subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our updates, and we'll be back again with another show for you guys again real soon. We thank you for watching and hope you have a great day. Bye.